Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into data strategy for AI. It's a topic that's, becoming super important for businesses of all sizes, especially small and medium ones. We've got some really interesting sources for this deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got excerpts from 3 articles by HIGTM Management Consulting
Okay.
and transcripts from 2 of Gary Stoyanov, PhD's YouTube videos, all focused on data strategy.
I'm familiar with his work. He's got some great insights.
Yeah, he really does. So our mission, I guess you could say, for this deep dive is to help you, the listener, really understand how to make the most of your data. We want to equip you with the knowledge to make some, smart decisions about your own data strategy.
Whether you're a seasoned executive or, just starting to think about this whole data-driven approach.
Exactly. So let's kick things off with a question. Is data really the new currency?
It's a question everyone's asking.
And if it is, are we managing our assets wisely?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. So, we hear this phrase, data is the new currency, thrown around a lot these days. But what does it actually mean, for a business, for an SME, like let's say a small manufacturing company or a local retailer? Is it just hype?
It's definitely more than hype, but it's a bit nuanced, right? Data, just like money, has value. But that value, you don't really get it unless you use it the right way.
So you can't just sit on a pile of data and expect it to magically turn into profits.
Exactly. You can hoard data, but if it's not working for you, if you're not using it to gain insights or make better decisions, it's not doing much good. It's like, stuffing cash under your mattress.
Yeah, or burying gold in your backyard.
Right. It's not generating any return.
And actually, just like mismanaging your finances can lead to problems, I imagine that mishandling your data can have consequences too, right?
Absolutely. We're talking missed opportunities, compliance risks.
Legal issues even.
Potentially, yeah. Think about GDPR and CCPA, these data privacy regulations. Non-compliance can result in some pretty hefty fines, not to mention the damage to your reputation.
That's hard to recover from.
It really is. And then there's the issue of data quality.
Oh, right, yeah. If your data's a mess, if it's inaccurate or inaccessible, well, you can't really trust it to make good decisions.
Exactly. You could be sitting on valuable insights, but if your data is garbage, well, those insights are basically worthless. That's why having a data strategy is so crucial.
And that's where, Dr. Stoyanov's work comes in. He emphasizes the importance of being intentional with your data.
I love how he puts it, you can't just collect data for the sake of collecting data. You need to start with a clear purpose.
So it's not just about the what of data, it's about the why.
Exactly. What are your specific business goals? What questions are you trying to answer? What problems are you trying to solve? Once you've defined those, then you can figure out what data you actually need and how to use it effectively.
That makes a lot of sense. So can you maybe give us an example of how that might look in the real world? Like for a small business?
Sure. Let's say you're a retailer who wants to, optimize their inventory.
Okay, that's a common challenge for retailers.
Definitely. They might ask themselves, how can we reduce waste? How can we make sure we always have the right products in stock at the right time?
And what data would they need to answer those questions?
Well, they'd need data on past sales, signal trends, maybe even things like weather patterns.
Weather patterns, really?
Yeah, certain products might sell better depending on the weather.
That's interesting.
So they could take all this data and use it to, build a model that predicts future demand.
So they're not just reacting to what's already happened. They're actually anticipating future needs based on data.
Exactly. It's about moving from reactive to proactive. And we see this data-driven approach across all sorts of industries.
So how do we go from just collecting data to actually building a real data strategy?
Well, Dr. Stoyanov offers a pretty helpful framework. He calls it the 4 Ps of data strategy.
4 Ps. Okay. I like frameworks. Break it down for me. What's the first P?
Purpose, which we've already talked about, defining our goals, understanding why you're collecting data in the first place.
Okay, so let's say my purpose is to, I don't know, increase customer retention. What's the next P?
People. This is where data governance comes in. You got to define roles and responsibilities for your data. Who owns the data? Who's responsible for its accuracy and security?
So this goes beyond just saying, hey, IT department, data's your problem.
Right. It's about assigning ownership within each department or business unit. So you might have a data owner for sales data, another one for marketing data, and so on.
And they would be responsible for making sure the data is accurate and secure.
Exactly. And it's not just about assigning responsibility, it's also about setting clear policies and procedures for data management. And that's where, HIGTM's insights are really helpful. They go deep into the key elements of data governance.
Okay, so what are some of those key elements that SMEs really need to focus on?
One of the biggest ones is assigning clear ownership and accountability. You need to know who's in charge of each piece of data.
Okay, ownership is key.
Mm.
What about security? I mean, that's got to be top of mind for any business, especially if they're dealing with sensitive customer information.
Oh, absolutely. Security and access control they're essential. We're talking about role-based access, so employees only see the data they need to do their jobs. Encryption is also super important,
Yeah.
both for data at rest and in transit.
Right, so whether it's being stored or being transmitted.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about privacy and compliance, especially with regulations like GDPR and CCPA.
Right, that's essential.
Data privacy is not just a legal requirement. It's about building trust with your customers. You got to be transparent about how you're collecting, using, and storing their data, and have processes in place to handle data subject requests.
So if we don't have a clear data governance plan, what are we risking?
Well, your data might be unreliable. It could be vulnerable to breaches. It might even be, illegal to use in certain ways. And that could lead to, well, hefty fines.
Now, we talked about that.
Reputational damage. A loss of customer trust. It's a recipe for disaster.
I've also heard this term data swamp thrown around. Is that kind of what we're talking about here?
Yeah, it is. A data lake without good governance can easily turn into a data swamp, this massive, disorganized collection of data that's, well, basically unusable.
It's like a digital hoarder's paradise.
Exactly. And it defeats the whole purpose of having a data lake in the first place. So data governance, it's like the foundation of a house. You can't build anything solid without it.
And this foundation, it needs to be, regularly inspected and maintained. Because our data needs, they're constantly evolving, right?
Absolutely. A good data governance plan, it's not a one-time thing. It should be a living document, evolving as your business grows and changes.
Okay, so we've covered purpose and people, 2 critical Ps for building a solid data strategy. What's next?
The third P is all about choosing the right tools, making sure your approach is practical.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're really digging into this whole data strategy thing, and I'm ready to hear about that third P.
Practicality. It's all about making sure the tools you choose are actually going to work for you, but honestly, it can be kind of overwhelming, right? There are so many options out there.
I know what you mean. I hear all these terms like data lakes and data warehouses, and honestly, I'm not even sure I know the difference or which one would be right for my business.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the jargon. So think of a data warehouse like a really organized filing cabinet. It stores structured data, information that fits neatly into rows and columns.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Things like sales transactions or customer demographics, and it's optimized for specific queries and analysis. So it's like having all your important documents, but like digitally, right? And you can easily find what you need.
So if I want to generate reports, analyze sales trends, track KPIs, a data warehouse would be a good fit.
Yep, exactly. They're great for traditional business intelligence and reporting. They give you that single source of truth for your business. But then what if you want to explore your data more freely, without knowing exactly what you're looking for? What if you want to find those hidden patterns or test different hypotheses?
That sounds really valuable, especially for a business like mine that's always looking for, ways to innovate and get ahead of the curve.
Right. So in those cases, a data lake might be a better option. Think of a data lake like a massive reservoir of raw data.
Raw data, okay.
Yeah, it can store structured data, but also all that unstructured stuff, like text documents, emails, social media posts, even images and videos.
I can see how that could be incredibly valuable. But wouldn't it be really difficult to, make sense of all that? I mean, it's searching for a needle in a haystack.
It can be, but that's where those specialized tools and techniques come in. Things like natural language processing or NLP for analyzing text or computer vision for understanding images. And the good news is these technologies are becoming more and more accessible to SMEs, even those without big data science teams.
That's good to hear. So it sounds like data lakes are more flexible, I guess. They can handle a wider variety of data types, but they also require, more specialized tools and maybe even expertise to manage them effectively.
That's a great summary. And the thing is, it's not necessarily in either situation. You don't have to choose just one. Many SMEs find that a hybrid approach works best.
Oh, interesting. So you could have a data warehouse for your structured data and your, day-to-day reporting needs, and then a data lake for exploring all that unstructured data and, maybe even experimenting with AI and machine learning.
Exactly. You get the best of both worlds. And that brings us to the fourth P, planning. This is all about creating a roadmap, like a blueprint for your data journey,
Right.
because your needs are going to change over time, right? As your business grows, new opportunities emerge. Having a plan helps you stay on track and adapt as needed.
That makes sense. You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint.
Precisely. Your data strategy, it's your blueprint for success in this data-driven world.
So we've talked about these different data repositories, but how do they connect to AI specifically? Can you give me some concrete examples of how SMEs are actually using AI with their data?
Sure. Let's go back to that retailer we talked about earlier, the one trying to optimize their inventory.
Okay, yeah.
Remember how they were using data to, predict future demand? Well, imagine they take it a step further and use their data to build a recommendation engine.
The recommendation engine.
Yeah, one that suggests products to customers based on their past purchases and browsing history. That's AI in action.
I see. So they're using data to not just understand what's happened in the past, but also to kind of predict future behavior and really personalize the customer experience.
Exactly. It's about being proactive and creating those tailored experiences. And that's just one example. AI can be applied to so many different business challenges.
Like what?
Fraud detection, predictive maintenance, personalized marketing. I mean, the list goes on.
These are really cool examples, but I got to say, AI still feels a bit intimidating. Is it really something that like small or medium business can actually implement? It just seems so expensive and complex.
I get it. It's a common concern. But AI is becoming much more accessible than it used to be thanks to, cloud-based solutions. You don't need to build your own AI infrastructure or hire a whole team of data scientists to get started.
So you're saying there are like off-the-shelf AI tools that even a small business can use?
Yep, exactly. A lot of cloud providers offer these pre-built AI tools and services that you can integrate with your existing systems. You can start experimenting with AI without a huge upfront investment.
Okay, now that sounds more doable. Can you give me some examples of these cloud-based tools? Like, what are we talking about here?
Sure, Amazon Web Services has a whole suite of AI services, including Amazon SageMaker for building machine learning models and Amazon Personalize for creating those recommendation engines we talked about. Then you've got Google Cloud, which offers Google Cloud AI platform for machine learning, and the Google Cloud Natural Language API for analyzing text.
So many options. How do I even know which ones are right for my business? It's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be. But it really comes back to those first two Ps we discussed: purpose and people. What are your goals? What problems are you trying to solve? Once you have those clearly defined, you can start, narrowing down the options and finding the tools that really align with your needs.
It's starting to click for me now, but it's still a lot to process. Where do I even begin it?
It's understandable to feel a bit overwhelmed. But remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Start small. Focus on one or two key areas where data and AI can really make a difference.
Okay, so maybe I could start by tackling that inventory management challenge or, maybe experiment with AI for personalizing my marketing.
Exactly. Pick a project that's aligned with your goals and has a clear return on investment. Start small, experiment, learn as you go.
That sounds a lot more manageable. And if I need help along the way, there are, experts like HIGTM who can offer some guidance.
Absolutely. They can help you assess your needs, choose the right technologies, and, really develop a data strategy that's specific to your business.
This has been a super insightful conversation. We've talked about a lot. The importance of starting with a clear purpose, the role of data governance, all these different types of data repositories, the rise of AI, the need for a solid plan. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to that idea of data as the new currency. We kind of touched on it briefly at the beginning, but I want to dig a little deeper.
Happy to dive in. What specifically are you curious about?
Well, you said that data, like money, has value. But unlike money, data can be, copied. So how do we protect the value of our data? How do we prevent it from being, I don't know, stolen or compromised?
That's a great question, and it brings up a critical aspect of data strategy: data security. You're right, data can be replicated. And in today's world, with all these digital threats, data breaches are unfortunately a reality.
So how do we protect ourselves? I mean, it seems like a constant battle.
It is, in a way,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of things you can do. First and foremost, you got to have strong access controls in place. Make sure only the people who absolutely need access to your data have it.
So not everyone in the company should have access to everything.
Exactly. Role-based access control is key. And then you need strong authentication measures like multi-factor authentication.
Right, that extra layer of security.
Yep, it helps prevent unauthorized access.
What about data encryption? How important is that?
It's essential. It basically scrambles your data, making it unreadable to anyone without the decryption key. You should encrypt your data both at rest, meaning when it's stored, and in transit, meaning when it's being transmitted over a network.
Got it. Makes sense. Are there any other security measures we should be thinking about?
Regular security audits are really important. They help you identify and address vulnerabilities. And it's also crucial to have a plan in place for responding to data breaches, just in case.
So if a breach does happen, we'd know what to do, how to contain the damage, and, hopefully recover as quickly as possible.
Exactly. And finally, don't underestimate the power of employee training. Your employees are often your first line of defense.
Oh, right.
Make sure they understand the importance of data security and know how to, identify and report anything suspicious.
So it's not just about technology, it's about people and processes too.
You got it. Data security is a holistic approach. It's about technology, people, and processes all working together to protect your valuable data assets.
This is really helpful. I'm starting to see how, protecting our data is just as important as using it effectively.
100%. Data security isn't just about compliance. It's about protecting your business, your reputation, your future.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered a lot about building a data strategy, from purpose to actually picking the right tools. But now I think it's time to talk about the payoff, right? How do we turn all this data into something we can use into results?
You got it. We've built the house, made sure it's secure. Now it's time to actually move in and enjoy it.
And that's where I guess AI and analytics really come into play, right?
Absolutely.
I'm starting to see the big picture, but I still feel a little fuzzy on how SMEs can really make this AI thing work for them. It still feels kind of, I don't know, futuristic and out of reach.
I hear you. But the truth is, AI is becoming a lot more practical, a lot more down to earth for businesses of all sizes. Let's go back to those examples we were talking about earlier, like FinServ Co., that financial services company.
Yeah, they were using a data warehouse to manage their loan portfolio.
Right. They wanted to improve their reporting, make better decisions about loans. But with AI, they can take things to a whole new level. Imagine using machine learning to, actually analyze loan applications and pick out the ones that might be fraudulent.
Oh, wow.
That's a huge win in terms of risk management.
Yeah, they're not just looking at past fraud, they're actually predicting and preventing it.
Exactly. And it's not just about preventing losses. Think about Health Plus Clinic. They wanted to improve patient care, right?
They were using a data lake for that, if I remember correctly.
Yep. And with AI, they could analyze all that patient data and identify the folks who are, at higher risk of developing chronic conditions.
Oh, I see.
And that lets them intervene early, maybe even prevent some serious health issues down the road.
So in both these cases, AI is helping them go from reactive to proactive. They're not just figuring out what's already happened, they're anticipating what might happen and taking steps to shape the future.
You nailed it. And those are just two examples. Our e-commerce company, EcoTrade, they could use AI to, personalize product recommendations, maybe analyze customer sentiment on social media, or even optimize their pricing strategies.
Okay, now I'm really seeing the potential. But I still have this nagging feeling that AI is too complex for my business, or just way too expensive.
It's a common concern, but honestly, cloud-based AI solutions have really changed the game. You don't need a massive IT budget or a team of, geniuses to get started.
Really? Tell me more about that. How does that work?
Well, cloud providers like Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, they offer all these pre-built AI tools and services, and these tools are designed to be user-friendly, even if you don't have a tech background.
So I could actually use these cloud-based tools to do some of the things we've been talking about, like the fraud detection or predictive modeling.
Absolutely. You could use Amazon SageMaker to build a machine learning model without having to code anything, or Google's natural language API to analyze customer reviews and understand how they're feeling without needing to be a linguistics expert.
This is all very exciting, but with so many options, where do I even begin? What advice would you give to, a small business owner who's just starting to explore this whole AI thing?
I'd say the most important thing is to really understand your goals. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Don't get caught up in the hype. Just focus on where AI can have the biggest impact on your business, your bottom line, your customers, whatever's most important to you.
It's about being strategic, not just jumping on the AI bandwagon because everyone else is.
Exactly. Once you know what you're aiming for, you can start looking at the different tools and resources that fit your needs. There are also tons of free online courses and tutorials if you want to, learn the basics of AI and machine learning.
So it's about taking it step by step, not being afraid to experiment, learning as we go.
Yep. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are consultants and experts out there like HIGTM who can help you navigate this whole landscape and build a data strategy that really works for your business.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. We've learned so much about data strategy, from the fundamentals to the incredible potential of AI. I'm walking away feeling, honestly, a lot more informed and a lot more excited about the future.
Me too. It's an exciting time to be in business, that's for sure. The data revolution is here. And with the right strategy, even small companies can use data and AI to achieve amazing things.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to, well, to start putting data to work for your business. Remember, data might be the new currency, but like any currency, it's only valuable if you know how to use it wisely.